welcome to Blockbuster Bums. Kick back your recliner, crack open a beer, and let's talk movies. And today we're here to talk about Casino Royale. We have a new Bond on our hands here as Daniel Craig takes over as our new Bond, his first Bond film, Casino Royale, as I mentioned earlier. Ray, do you have a quick synopsis for us before we go around the room?
I do. After receiving a license to kill, British Secret Service agent James Bond heads to Madagascar, where he uncovers a link to Le Chiffre, a man who finances terrorist organizations. Learning that Le Chiffre plans to raise money in high-stakes poker game, MI6 sends Bond to play against him. Gambling their newest 00 operative will topple the man's organization.
All right. Thank you, Ray. And as you probably picked up from that, Casino Royale goes back to the beginning. It is a prequel, in a sense, to the movies we've already discussed. So this takes place before Dr. No, in the order of sequences here. So let's get started here. Tom, what did you think of your rewatch of Casino Royale?
I'll say I was a little more kind on the rewatch and all because, like I said, I did keep in mind it was a prequel, and I tried not to hold everything that we've already seen Bond do now against him in this movie. So I came out with that being said, though, to me it still didn't really seem like a Bond film to me. I'll be honest, to me, you could have taken out the whole spy aspect, and I would have just been happy with the movie. It would have just been like watching 21 Rounders to me. I think it was just a solid poker movie.
Okay. Barry, what did you think on your first watch of our movie?
I think it's a great movie. I don't know if I like the idea of prequels or potentially even like having sequels to the prequel and all that stuff, but the movie just in and of itself, all the other movies are just kind of standalone things, but anyway, I think it's a great movie. I will say the only maybe negative thing I'll say about it is that the whole time I just kept wishing there was a different actor as James Bond. Not that Daniel Craig was bad. He was not bad. He just doesn't seem like James Bond to me. And I just kept wanting Roger Moore or Pierce Brosnan.
Ooh, bold statement.
Yes. And before we move on, I didn't mention in my opening here that we have a guest here today. Wade, who is actually my brother, has joined us as a Daniel Craig connoisseur here.
Some Daniel Craig. Oh, I didn't know about the connoisseur.
So, Wade, what did you think of your rewatch of Casino Royale?
I like Casino Royale quite a bit. Out of the Daniel Craig movies, it's probably my second favorite. So I'm pretty high on Casino Royale. It's got just a couple of things that I thought just stand out a lot. One, that torture scene is absolutely insane. It really sticks out in your mind, especially as a man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, ooh. I thought they kind of like pulls you in with that really cool one of the opening action scenes. I thought where he's chasing down that guy and where they at? Is it Madagascar or something like that? Mm-hmm. And it kind of draws you in, and then they kind of have a nice him and Matt Mikkelsen kind of have that cool dynamic then in the middle part of the movie during the poker scenes. And I thought just overall it just has a lot of different qualities and different things about it that I liked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ray, what was your thought on your rewatch, sir?
To me, it felt like we needed to get back to basics after the atrocious final 2 to 3 Brosnan films. No jetpacks, no ice castles, no face-off bullshit. Just a rookie 00 making a name for himself with a PP7 and his smarts. And that's how I felt about that. But you said it was a prequel? To which one?
No, this is a prequel to all of them.
See, I don't buy that because the man's got a cell phone throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, I take issue with that sort of thing too.
But that's what it is, because you have to go into it to where just almost forget everything you've known start fresh from that point in time with that time period's technology, and that's what you're getting.
Yeah, it's
So they're
okay.
just doing like a reboot.
You got to look at it from like that's why, but that's also I think why because they could have done way better technology than they did, but they had to downplay it because he's new.
Well, it's a confusing process. I'm not gonna lie to you because it's a prequel, as in like they're going back and doing a story of James Bond's first mission, but it's not a prequel, as in like they're going back and taking us in 1961.
Right.
You know, like it is in modern day or modern day at the time, which was 2006. That was the year Tom and I graduated high school.
Old. You guys are old.
Yeah. So yes, I mean obviously we go in 1962 is when Dr. No came out with, and you know we watched Sean Connery. There's obviously no cell phones, more or you know the sports cars we see in this movie or anything like that. So yes, there's still a giant jump in technology, even from some of the Brosnan stuff.
Portable defibrillator like they had. Like,
Yeah.
You had that in the 60s. Like, you just die of a heart attack. Like,
You can't
But-
run the car.
yeah. Like,
But yes. So anyway, were you done, Ray? By the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So my thoughts on the movie is I really like Casino Royale, and I think it does a good job of showing the rookie and the greenness of James Bond, but he also still has some of that James Bond mannerisms or things he does, like when he walks in and he's supposed to be, you know, whatever, I can't remember his code name, but something Beach, and he's like, I'm James Bond, supposed to be checking in under Beach. You know, he's just, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, it's a game now. We now I've got. He knows I'm here. He knows my name. And now
because he already knew. So,
yeah, and like he's like, and he automatically just goes in with that brashness. You know, I thought it was a little bit of a. It's something we've seen over all these movies of him going in and just being like, you know what, James Bond's here, guys.
He big dicked him.
he did.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was made to see. It was almost like made out to be a negative throughout the whole movie, though. Like whereas, like I said, in the older movies and all that, we knew that was a part of his personality, but no one ever really called him out on the shit. Like where, like from here, you have even M from the start and everything is kind of like finger wagging and chastising. And
Well,
everything like that.
it's not the first time we've seen him do that.
But no, but once again, prequel, we haven't.
No, you're right on
Like,
that,
so
but I
this
mean,
is
like,
the first time here and all like this is the first time, but they went out of her way to redo her in that role, even to make her come across more motherly and everything. You could tell throughout it.
well, I don't know if maybe motherly. I don't know if I would have described it that before you mentioned it, but
Bitchy.
she does get into him a couple of times. But we're also talking about the guy that broke into her house and figured out what her real name was and violated a whole bunch of codes and policies and is using her sign in to look at illegal files and
but
things
all
like
that.
that.
Aside,
So-
I think we're talking about like the
All
arrogance
that
of
is
yeah, like, that's different. Like we're talking about the arrogance of the character and all that. Like it's like I think that was more of it.
Oh,
His attitude does get some pushback.
Yeah, like I said,
think
well,
you're-
between
Mhm.
like
right.
what's her name, like the female counter role, and then like M throughout it, like it just seems like from the start they're just shitting on James for being James.
I felt like a lot of the females just directly went at him over kind of just I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of speaking in general throughout some of the other
No,
movies
I'm-
too. I'm,
I'm-
not just talking about Casino Royale.
I'm right here with you, Wade.
Yeah.
Cause
At first, I didn't really follow what you were saying, but I kind of caught on a little bit there at the end. I
I-
think some of that's true.
Yeah, I will say, and what you're saying is true, but I mean, I remember I don't remember which Moore movie it was, but M basically wished him dead.
yes, he
You
did.
know,
Is the
so
when they're in the boat.
so there's
it goes down everything
some
like that.
degree of establishment of, M not, taking kindly to, basically what is Bond's
Well,
arrogance
from
and oftentimes poor
insubordin-
decision making.
insubordination,
Yeah,
yeah.
insubordination.
But then, like, I mean, but he never got chastised for like I said, like the whole honeypot stuff for sleeping with the enemy. Like when old girl got drowned in the oil and everything, then she's like, now you see, like this poor girl was just an office chick, and because she like came in contact with you, she's dead. And like,
No, but that wasn't the enemy. That was her. That was her agent.
yeah, but still, he
You got one of your fellow agents killed.
I
The
don't
the
think
oil
he
scene
did-
is the
he
next movie,
didn't-
Tom.
He didn't get her killed.
Yes, that was the whole point. He took her out in the field she wasn't supposed to be in the field.
Come on now, like it's James Bond.
But I do think Ray's right. But I mean, the point still stands.
What did Ray say?
I said the oil scene is in the next movie.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Never mind then.
But regardless, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
It's
we
just
get what
point
you're
still
saying,
taken.
Tom.
Yeah,
You're
point
just
still
way
taken.
ahead of everybody.
Oh yeah,
Way
you're
ahead.
you're right. You're right.
Thinking about
That,
stuff that doesn't exist. Never mind.
I-
Like,
We're not there yet.
I guess I'll mention I like very much that, to open the movie, establishing, that he's making these kills to get his 00 status, and it all looked really nice. I think it was all in black
Oh.
and white.
Yeah.
I
the
love
black
the
and
black
white
and
was a
white
good
montage
touch.
though. In
It-
the
it
beginning, like
was-
that's definitely some of my favorite fight
Yeah.
scenes in all the Bond films.
The bathroom fight was
yeah,
brutal.
like smashing into the
was-
sink, drowning the guy in the sink.
Yeah.
Like that one was brutal to where that takes
Yeah.
a while.
And then the coldness of the second kill. He went from just this brutal fight, and then just basically I'm just going to sit here and coldly just put one in your head. So it kind of showed, kind of the cold assassin style, and then also just the
But that's
fighting brute.
But that's what I like because we've seen that assassin style before 2 times in past movies, to where like he sat down, he's playing cards, just gun on the table, waiting for the guy to walk in her room and I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've seen a couple of callbacks
that's
in this.
that's a
seen that in
Connery
Dr.
movie. That's
No
a
and
Connery
Tomorrow Never
movie, so
Dies,
that
yeah.
wouldn't be too far in the future if we're talking
No,
about this is
But
before
I'm,
that.
but I'm still like, it's
Yeah.
like there was
It's
a
a
lot
good
of
establishment.
yeah, there was a lot of little stuff. Like I said, after watching everything so close together, like then watching what they did with Craig, it's like they pulled a lot from past movies and all that. Like if you really watch and remember.
I thought it was just, I don't know, maybe it hit me weirdly because like you said, we're watching them so close together and everything, and like kind of actually thinking about the character a lot. But like
Too
The-
involved in it.
the fact that we just watched Bond's first 2 ever kills, I don't know, it just hit me. It just hit me like, wow, like they just showed it, like they just went back in time and showed us Bond's very first 2 kills, and then he kills like, I don't know, 20 people the rest of the movie. Like he does do a lot of killing in this movie, and the next one, and M's mad at him quite a bit.
I was
Like
gonna say, yeah, she's all upset
he
about
doesn't question anybody. He's just killing people. By the way, since we're talking about the beginning, what did you all think of the song?
I loved it.
I love it.
I
Chris
did too.
Cornell, baby.
I thought it was
Cornell.
really awesome.
I honestly forgot it was Cornell. Like as soon as because I put it on and I started doing something else in the kitchen and I heard, I was like, wait a minute, like yeah, like, it did catch my attention.
Tom's like, Spoon Man.
Yeah.
We played that song a lot at my house. Not Spoon Man, which is a
Oh.
great song, but we play You Know My Name a lot at my house.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's different as far as like the normal Bond intro song, but it's really catchy, really good. Like I really was like, you know what? I forgot this was the song for this movie, and like I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it has great lyrics that fit with the movie.
Well, and like I said, I was okay that they went up because usually whatever like the title of the movie is the title of the song in some capacity. And I was perfectly okay with them going away with that in this one. Because like I said, we're basically watching them try to reboot the whole franchise from this point. It's like, all right, what is your new interpretation of the opening sequence and all that? Like, what's it going to look like? Are you going to keep it like the classic Technicolor with the girls? Or are you going to go a different route with different characters? And yeah, I was happy with what they did with it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's no gun barrel at the beginning of the movie.
That was a nice switch, though. I liked that, though.
You like not having it there.
Well, they put it at the end.
Right.
And they snuck it in there, and they was like, oh, look what we did.
Like, oh, now he's this guy. That
Yeah.
was the idea.
Now
I
he's
assume.
ready.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I didn't think of that, but that's a good point, Barry. Like I didn't think of it being at the end as like, oh, now he is like the 007 we know. But I didn't think of it that way.
It's officially Bond.
So this opening chase scene, it's right after the music. I think Wade mentioned it earlier, the opening chase scene. I thought it was very I don't know, modern. Like very like, oh, like we're gonna like break everything on our way to like where we're going. Like everything breaks, everything blows up, everything, like like people get hurt left and right. Like it's just like this very modern, like over the top, like I don't know how. I guess I'm trying to say like
It's a very like prolonged sequence.
yes,
too.
yeah,
Very
very much so. But
It is.
but it's
really
it's
enjoyed
it,
it,
yeah,
to
it's
be
kind of
honest.
enjoyable to
Here's
watch.
what I
Yeah.
like most about it. The guy that James Bond is after is just doing some insane athletic stuff to get away from him.
Just
And Bond is just stopping, looking around, thinking his way through it, and then catching it right up, doing something crazy.
But he's
And you're
just
like,
getting,
yes.
he's just hitting stuff. Like,
Yeah.
like he's just falling through it and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, like he gets into a big piece of machinery at once and messes some stuff up, and he just like the one part the guy like grabs a bar and like goes through this little tiny opening, and Daniel Craig just runs right through the
Or
dive
when-
wall.
right
or
through
when-
the sheetrock. Yeah, I'm just gonna risk it. Like, I'm just gonna,
Just-
yeah. There's no stud there. Like,
And my
That
favorite
went a whole nother direction.
my favorite one is when the guy is like working so hard to climb that cable,
Oh
and
my
then Bond just like breaks it and then shoots himself up.
That's what I'm
dude-
saying. Every step of the way, he just stops, looks around, finds something, and then catches right back up. And then the other guy just out athletics him.
Chili had to jump
To
from
another
crane
point.
to crane and stuff, and
Yeah.
Bond is just falling and everything from one roof to the other.
You know what
In
else
the end,
killed
Bonds is just like enough.
it killed me with this is at the end of it, Bond gets in a bad spot and he ends up obviously killing the guy.
I think at that point, I would just kill him by principle.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like at that point, like I'm just gonna catch you at this point just to kill you to prove a point.
Yeah.
Like it's like I've already jumped off of too many things and taken too many falls. Like I don't care that you're in this embassy. Like this is happening. Like
Yeah.
But like he gets chastised heavily because he was supposed to take him alive. And at the beginning of the sequence, he tells the other agent, "I need this guy alive. Stop doing what you're doing."
God, that other
But
agent was
yeah, because he keeps
turd.
touching his ear. You're right, Wade. But
I
like,
think that would be like day one.
Yeah, like
Right
that.
away.
Right.
That's like the sacrifice reject agent. We're like, here, let's throw him with Bond. He's gonna kill a bunch of people, and we'll just
Well, but
whatever.
That's the way I took it. Is that like that other? They were both rookies. Is the way in my mind I took it. Because once
Yeah.
again, it's like
Yeah.
if he's new, then this fumble fuck is new as well, and
He-
it's like
yeah.
Bond is just the better new guy. and
Well, I
everything.
didn't. I don't think this guy's a 00. I think this guy is one of those underling agents that like Bond was graduating from, and this guy's probably a new underling agent,
would
and
hope.
Bond's a new 00. But
Yeah, he
my
was
point
tripping
was though
over.
is like Bond is in trouble for having to kill the guy, and I'm like, so if Bond's in trouble for that, like what about this underling guy who screwed the whole mission up?
Yeah.
Like, did he get like fired? Like, you know?
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure he's not as much trouble as killing and setting off an explosion
Yeah,
in a foreign
Bond's-
embassy.
I guess my thing with the Bond killing of the free runner guy, which was awesome. You know, in an embassy, you know, and basically he murdered him. It wasn't, you know, like, oh, it's self defense at this point, or I have to. He
principle,
made a decision to murder a man at an embassy, so it's kind of hard for him to have any sort of approval for that sort of thing. So I get the, you know, what in the world are you doing stuff with that.
I don't disagree, but I'm saying they never would have made it there if the other guy didn't screw the whole thing up. You know what I mean? Their goal was to go there together and just grab this guy.
I'm not gonna
Like-
lie. I was really hoping that other agent was gonna die by that cobra, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like there was that, yeah. When he fell, I was like, please get bit by the cobra. I was like, I don't remember if that happens, but you deserve this right now.
I
Like,
don't think
You guys are very, very harsh on the
Oh,
ear toucher.
you do
The
not-
ear toucher.
I mean, anybody
you do
could have
not
made that
fail in the
mistake.
field.
He's
Don't
got
fail,
one
baby.
scene and it's a bad one.
Yeah. Like,
Well, I'm
that's
sure
your
that's like
legacy.
day one, like, hey, don't press the fucking headphone in your ear. And he
Right, yeah.
failed day two.
Or then he pulled out the gun then, and he
Yeah.
was running through the crowd just waving
Well,
it.
then
and
he
stuff, and-
accidentally fires it.
Yeah, like it's just
Yeah, like-
just nonsense from the
This
start.
man was
and all.
not a good agent.
No.
No.
Like they
He
talk
was not
about,
But
they,
not only that, did you see him when they even like show him? He's in a bright white shirt. He's the only white guy in the crowd. Stuff is like, oh, I wonder who the plant is. Like, just like,
well,
like,
here's
come on, you
here's
could have
my
done
thing.
a way better job at like blending in.
Over the course of these movies, we have been shown and told how much training these guys have to go to before they ever reach this point. Like, this guy acts like he's never been in the field ever.
Yeah, because remember, Bond was still supposed to be in his late 30s when he became a 00, right?
Right, like, well, he was in the Navy first. He was
Yeah,
he'd
that's
gone
what
through
I
all
mean,
the he'd
yeah.
gone through all the training
It's not
with
like he's
with
like a
MI6.
young- it's not like he's a young person like right out of like academy or anything.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was talking about the other guy, but I assume he's got similar training. They don't just like pluck dudes out of high school to come do this. You know, like
Maybe that one.
I don't know. It was bad though.
He
It
was
was
a legacy.
yeah, it was a legacy. There you go.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not gonna lie though. Even when you said when you said modern, everything about that whole scene, all that scene did, and I even thought about it, is like it was basically just like shot for shot of like some Mission Impossible scene. Like
Yeah.
your main
Mhm.
character is just running, just
Mhm.
running,
That's
just
Tom Cruise all the
yeah,
way.
just
Yeah.
insane
Yeah.
amounts of cardio and all that. Like you said, explosions, breaks, everything all around. I'm like, yeah, I can see what model you guys kind of took for that.
Well,
Like
and also I think some people call it free running maybe or parkour.
it is
parkour.
Yeah.
parkour, Barry.
During that time frame, it was very
Mhm.
much like
Yeah.
in vogue or a novelty thing. So
It totally was. Yeah. So we've talked about M a decent amount so far. Is it weird that we went from like Bronson to a prequel with Craig and the M didn't change? Like, is it odd?
No,
it's an odd choice. I
I-
like the choice, I guess, enough, but it is an odd choice.
Yeah, I don't mind Judi Dench's M.
I'll yeah. I mean I don't mind that they kept her and all that. Like I said, you just have to like buy into the pretense of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And but I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't the same M. Like I liked her personality in the other one, but I also don't know if that's because that's what I was used to. And like I said, I just caught like a bunch of little dialogue that was like, that seems really weird out of character for you.
I don't know. I liked her better in this movie than I did the first Bronson movie because she is so cold-hearted and such a, I don't know, a witch to Bond in that first Bronson movie.
Yeah.
Like, you
Well,
know,
because remember she inherited. She talked about how he's like the old model and a dinosaur. Like that was the dynamic there and all that. Whereas here, it's like I said, she comes across really like I said, she oddly mothers him, but then but I'll give it to her. She protects him all the time behind his back.
yeah, she
Like
does.
she'll chastise and berate and belittle, but then as soon as he leaves the room, it's like, why are we letting him do this? Like, because he's my agent and I trust him. Like, she
Yeah,
said it. Like,
I mean, I think she says at least once in this movie, Bond, I need you.
yeah.
Like, I think
Yeah,
she,
because he kept like disobeying her so much to where it's like, okay, like we're gonna do this, but by then they got the tracker in them and shit and everything. Like,
yeah. No, I think, okay, so I wrote a big paragraph on my page over here in my notes about the interaction between M and Bond in her house.
okay,
Because I thought it was such a great interaction between the two of them. Because he is super cocky, super arrogant, borderline like, I looked at it as in like, I'm gonna push the envelope to see how far I can get with you, and and she does have to come down on him, and at a certain point she's like, say one more word and I'll have you killed. Like she really comes at him after a while because she's like, I thought it was like this. He's new and he's good and he knows it, but at the same time she knows he's good, but at the same time she's got to try and get him in check because he's gonna do something too stupid or get himself killed because of the arrogance and the cockiness. And
she's trying to get him to stop killing people.
well, that's true
Like
too.
that's
Yeah.
that's the main motif about this whole thing is that like you need to bring people in alive. She even said like I need you to exercise discretion in the field, and what I like no like not every incident or situation requires a hammer and all that like
Mm-hmm.
over and over. She's like I know you're an effective killer. I know you can do X, Y, and Z, but we need to take these people in and all that. And like that's where she's like
Yeah, I mean she gives
that's
that
what she's trying to hammer.
she
home.
gives that speech of we're trying to bring down an organization, not stop one bomb from going off. Like,
Yeah.
you know, which is a pretty like I would say true statement. Like killing him is not necessarily like, oh, we're sad that he died. That wasn't the point. The point is like, hey, we need to be able to question these guys and interrogate these guys so that we can get to the organization as a whole.
Yeah, who's funding it?
Yeah.
They don't want one bomb maker like you
Right.
said.
Exactly.
M's kind of like Phil Jackson and James Bond is Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put it.
It really is because like Kobe and James Bond, everyone knew they had the potential to be an all-time great, but M and Phil Jackson had to teach them the right way to do it. And that's just what you're watching there.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Yeah.
teaching him a lesson, trying to.
Yeah, because like I said, she's not gonna one of her better agents that's new or anything. She's not gonna get rid of him right there.
Yeah.
Like,
And
and you may not have liked what he did, but he got in and out was effective. Like, you did just kill somebody in an embassy and got away with it. Like, it's in broad daylight, like on camera. Like,
Well, and he was like
just
surrounded by soldiers with machine guns and got out of it. Yeah, it was a pretty smooth move,
I'll
really.
say, yeah, it's like boom, boom, out. Like,
really
just-
coming on strong.
yeah,
really
like, he just
pushing the
fence.
envelope.
Like,
But isn't he actually there to get onto her computer?
yeah,
Correct?
yeah,
He does do
what
that,
he
yeah.
did
So he actually
was
does have a purpose for being there on top of what you said earlier, I think.
Mhm.
Oh, he was sprinkling like so she could follow the pebbles.
Yeah, but
along
I think
with
that's
him.
where we see like that is like his intelligence shining through. Like I said, he is more than just like an effective killer. Like I said, he's like I said, he's breadcrumbing her to be like, I'm gonna do what I want. Look, if you follow me, you'll see that I'm right.
Well, I think the other thing we're seeing here is they're also leaving us breadcrumbs for later on in the movie with Vesper, because I think what they're trying to show us personally is what I think what they're trying to show us is that Bond trusts nobody, including him. And he's like, I have her name, I have her address, I can break into her computer, I can do anything I want, and I'm showing you that I can do anything I want. So if you screw with me, I'm going to mess you up. But at the same time, later on in the movie, he lets Vesper in, and I think it's so much worse because he was like, oh, I don't trust anybody. I don't, like I don't even trust my superiors, so on and so forth. And then he does finally trust somebody. That was what I took from it. I could be off. Maybe they weren't trying to do that at all, but
no, I hadn't considered that, but I could totally see that. Absolutely.
I agree with you. I think that's literally the entire point of her. Like, that sets up the rest of the story arc throughout the rest of the movies and his general attitude towards everything. It all starts with that.
yeah.
So that's exactly what I think they intended. But yeah, but they also have these little moments in all the Craig movies, and obviously it starts with Casino Royale, where he sprinkles in these little moments where they have that. I don't remember which one of y'all said it earlier about the kind of the motherly son dynamic that they kind of create with M and James Bond in some of these movies. And then in each movie, they have these little moments where Daniel Craig does something little to show how much he kind of like respects M. And throughout all the movies, the moments get bigger and there's like a little more of them. And this is just like the beginning of it, where he like first shows her like a sign of respect with like kind of letting her in a little bit. And it just progresses from there throughout the rest of the movies.
But I mean, I get that because you go back from the start with Connor, they did the same thing with the old M there.
Yeah.
To where, like I said, progressively more and more trust, and like I said, but with that more trust, then he came down harder on him with him at times too. To where it's like you get to say things like, I wish you would have died, or it should have been you in the field, or something like that.
Well,
Like,
I think we've talked about this before. I think he comes down on Bond to his face very hard because he knows he needs to keep Bond in line. But behind Bond's back, like when the Prime Minister or somebody else comes in and complains about Bond, then he flips out on him because he's like, no, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Like that Bond is my number one agent, and nobody's gonna talk bad about him except for me.
Yeah.
Almost like a fatherly or brotherly relationship where I'm the only one that gets to say bad things about them.
Well, like I said, you see that kind of trust there too, even with like later on when people higher than M, like with the money and everything at this, to where like, is the money going to be deposited tomorrow, Bond? Remember when they had that conversation,
Yeah.
it's like, oh shit, and everything, because she's like, the guy's right here in my office and all that. Like, he's like, yeah, tomorrow, like you'll get it. Like, I mean, that's like I said, there's a bunch of people that have more power than her around that she does protect him from and all that.
That's true.
But it's one of those, like, she even kind of knew, like, that was her way of even saying, like, find the money now and all that. Like, somebody, like, there's a mole pretty much. Like,
No, I think they had an entire conversation. I mean, Bond and M, sorry. Bond and M had an entire conversation, completely understood each other, but the person that was standing in the room with him had no idea.
yeah. Because he immediately knew and just took off.
Yeah.
Like,
Are you referencing to this specifically the money call?
Yeah.
Oh,
When he realized
I never
when he
took it
realized that
as
she took the money.
I never took it as M necessarily picking up on the issue at hand of the money being stolen ultimately, but maybe she did.
I don't know. I
never
feel
took
like
that away from it.
I immediately thought, like, M suspected it was her. Like and because that's why like Bond immediately was like shit, boom, because there was no one else involved. Like at that point, and everything, and it's like she had full faith in Bond and everything. She knew it wasn't him.
Well, it had to be Bond, her, or Mathis, and they already had Mathis in custody.
Well, it had to. Well,
I don't think M's assumed already. I'm sure she has to
but it had to.
leave for the possibility that the money's stolen or something of that nature. But I don't think she's necessarily there yet. I think that Bond is so arrogant that she could buy that he wouldn't have bothered to do this yet.
Oh no!
You know what I mean?
I'll take because you already seen the only way they could access the account from the Swede was when she had the code and he had the password, so they could only access the money and everything once he did that, and she knew the password.
As he tells it to her.
Yeah, and once she knows both, she's the only one that knows both. So
Right.
even Bond couldn't have changed it.
Right, but I don't know that M knows that.
I don't think M knows that he told Vesper the password.
Yeah,
I don't think she knows that.
I took it as she suspected just because there's, like I said, no one else involved.
Well, when there's $120 million missing, I mean, it runs through your mind
yeah, like I said,
all sorts of possibilities. Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe I have too much faith in Bond. Maybe I don't know. But I do think Bond would. Well, obviously, we know Bond will do some shady things from time to time. But I don't think Bond would try and steal $120 million.
No.
You know, because that's essentially what you're saying. Not you. I mean, like what that phone call was saying is, hey, it's been, because I don't know how long it's supposed to have been in the movie, but in the book, it's supposed to have been months.
yeah, they made it.
So like,
yeah.
if it's been months and he hasn't put the money back, essentially this phone call is saying, you stole the money, Bond. Where is it? You know what I mean? Like, it's been months and you haven't put the money back.
You could just say, well, technically I lost your money, but this is the Americans' money because Felix fronted me. So,
Yeah.
I think the phone call. I guess it's kind of a small point to get stuck on, and it's open for interpretation, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think M's approach, if she truly thought that Bond had stolen the money, would not have been the approach that she took. I think she truly thinks that this guy's priorities are elsewhere, and he's going to do what he wants in his own sweet time. And I took it as she truly thought that's what was going on.
Well, you may be right. I'm not guaranteeing that I'm right or Tom's right. I'm just saying that you might be right. But I don't really think she was calling to say, Bond, you stole the money.
No,
I just took it as she was saying, hey, the money hasn't showed up yet, and I trust you, Bond, so this bitch took it. Or is taking it, or she's tricking you, or whatever.
At that point, Bond knew at that point because she's the only one that could access.
I mean, it was a instant realization on his part.
He knew what had happened. She was just calling to like, hey, get it here. Like,
Yeah.
I just kind of took it as she was calling to pretty much ask what the fuck's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, hey, I'm getting heat now, dude. What's up? You know? Yeah.
Did they ever tell us who was in the room with her?
They
It
kind of
was
show him a little.
I mean, I know they show him, but
no,
do they tell us who it was?
She said who it was because she said his
Yeah.
title. She's like, I'm here with such and such.
Was it like the
and
head of the treasury or something?
It was something like that.
Because Vesper worked for the treasury.
yeah, it was a money
department.
man, you know.
Yeah.
Because that was her whole big thing is that they were playing with government money and all that, like, and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Well, again, Tom's point is correct though. Like the 120 million he won in a poker game with the United States is $5 million.
That is true.
It wasn't British money. Like he lost the 10 million from British.
And not only that, he made
the
enough,
British.
He made enough. He could pay the British back and still be a millionaire.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, he like it. And he did win the game fair and square. Like so, I mean, I don't know. There'd be, I don't know if you count that like as evidence and all that or whatnot. But the Americans said they didn't want the money. So
That's
like,
true. Oh, does it look like we need it?
Yeah. Like, which I like. I liked this Felix.
I did too.
Like,
I do too.
Coming back to like the I guess going into the poker game and everything like that. Like I did like how they introduced him in there, because like I said, you just see Bond show up to the tournament and all, and he only knows old boy and all that really. So it was kind of cool. Like that's how they introduced Felix. Like they grabbed him from the side and like, hey, you can't go. I'm bleeding chips. Like and like.
Again, I
brought him in.
don't know. Maybe I was just mushy watching this movie. I don't know, but it just was like, man, this is the original meeting between Felix and James Bond. Like the two guys that go on much later to be best friends in each other's weddings, like kill for each other, like all these things. This is the original meeting, and you don't know it's Felix for a little while. Like they're playing, you see them both. They're playing poker against each other and everything, and then he finally introduces himself like, "Oh, I'm Felix Leiter, for the CIA or whatever." But like, this is the original. Like, this is how they met.
Alex,
know.
how deep in your feelings were you watching this movie?
Well, I shed a few tears, and then I went home, and I had to get a new pillow over the amount of tears that went in my pillow.
Oh, you didn't get the Kleenex with the aloe?
No, not
Okay.
Not
He
so much.
called me bawling.
Oh my
and I had to
gosh,
hang up on
Alex.
it.
Mhm.
Let's off the estrogen, dude.
By the way, I did think that Jeffrey Wright did a good job as Leiter. I do like him as an actor, by the way. I think he does a good job in quite a few things. So, but yeah, I thought he did a good job as Felix Leiter, and we've seen what 7 of them at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There were that many. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's been quite a few and all that.
There was
like-
2 in the Dalton ones alone.
Yeah, 2 movies and 2 different Felixes.
I'm not quite as refreshed as you guys are on some of the older
Oh
movies.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know we talked a lot about her, but we didn't really talk about the intro scene, which again I think is another really good one. The meeting between Bond and Vesper on the train.
On the
Yeah,
train.
It's not bad. It's good dialogue.
It's good dialogue, a lot of really back and forth, like a battle of wits, I guess I would say, and they're really like coming at each other, trying to like prove who can read people better, and
A lot of exposition on the characters.
Yeah, Barry, how did you like being back on the train?
They didn't linger too terribly long on the train, so it was all right.
Once
yeah,
again,
Barry doesn't like train scenes in
once
movies.
again, another big throwback motif and all that. We're like,
There can be too much train.
Yeah.
Barry's like, God damn it, this better not fucking last 40
Yeah,
minutes.
From Russia with Love, it was
they
a
better
bit
not
much,
stop for a
but-
break. It's like,
But I feel like they also tried to tell us a few things. Like they really come on strong with Bond was an orphan. But it kind of affects them too.
That made you cry too. I remember.
It did. It was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he was an orphan. Such a poor guy. But no, like, I don't know that we've ever. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. We've watched all these movies now. I don't think that we've ever talked about that in any other movies.
no, they've never really addressed anything in childhood.
Yeah.
Or like any type of like.
Well, that's because they
backstory
were
such.
making James Bond movies.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's.
Well, I don't think we've ever gone back farther than the Navy. As far as like talking about his life, I don't think
Yeah,
we've ever gone
no.
back farther than the Navy before.
No, they've never really explored his backstory or anything of
There's
that
nothing.
nature,
Nothing in
which I'm
civilian
okay with.
I don't mind one way or the other, to be honest with you. It's not like they hung on it and was like, oh my gosh, and from ages 4 to 5 you were here, and
What a terrible life it was.
yeah.
No wonder you're killing everybody. left and right.
You poor bastard.
But I tell you what, another thing with that scene with Vesper and Bond though, she tries really hard to come off like I hate you, but at the same time you kind of get that feeling of she's digging Bond.
Oh yeah, it's James Bond.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know why
James
she
Bond.
got them titties popping out like she did. She's
I
digging
was like,
somebody.
yeah, like,
I mean, yeah, she's like leaning over the table. What's up?
he called her out on how she was dressing. Like,
I mean, they do have quite a big cat and mouse game too, where
he
they're
continues on
going back and
to-
forth, and then he brings the dress and it's like, I need them thinking about your neckline instead of their cards. But then she screws it up on purpose. She's like, oh, I'm not coming in from that direction, so none of them will see me. And then he has to walk over to her to get the reaction he wants anyway, and then like kisses her and takes her off guard, and like it's this whole like. But then she won't front him the money, and he gets pissed. He gets the money and wins anyway, and throws it in her face. Like it's a mess.
Indeed.
But Bond gets the girl in the end. I mean,
Yeah.
he does end up sleeping with her and stuff. So I mean, he gets where he was trying to get, I guess. But
Little bang bang and a feel.
yeah, but I don't know. I feel like she's the one that got away with this one because she was undercover the whole time.
Right. Yeah. She's
I mean, she
using
definitely got
him.
the better of Bond.
Yeah,
yeah.
but that's what I mean. That's like, I think that's where it's like, that's what I enjoy, like the back and forth. Because this is like, we haven't seen who she works for yet, but this is like the first time he's been exposed to that level of like an organization agent. And
Yeah.
she was like so good that she stayed under and got him like to the very end and stuff. Like the thing that annoyed me is, man, they tried to clean up that character so much because of that though.
What do you mean?
They tried to make it seem like, oh well, she really loved you, Bond.
Oh.
She was dead when she knew she betrayed them and this and that, and it's they tried so hard to clean up that character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk. We're not supposed to talk about the next movie, but they go back and forth with that in
No,
the
they
next
did it
one
at the end
too.
of this one when the damn like
I know,
building is
yeah.
sinking and shit like that and whatnot. Like,
I thought she, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I just misunderstood or can't remember. Wasn't she kind of put in a position like she wasn't like, oh, I want to work for these criminals. She was doing it to, I thought to like help an ex-boyfriend or something.
They kidnapped her, or supposedly
Yeah.
kidnapped her ex-boyfriend, and she was doing this. But then she supposedly made a deal to save Bond's life. That's why she was giving the money to him so that they would let Bond live.
Right.
Like all this stuff.
So she wasn't like, hey, I want to be a criminal and make money doing it. It was some personal affair going on where she was put in a position of, we need you to do this or else this bad thing's going to happen, right?
so far we're led to
Right.
believe it.
But it was. Oh yeah, I guess we can't talk about that because that's not in this movie. Sorry.
But I liked Old Boy too. How he was just so cerebral. Even when he's setting up like
Who we talking about?
the stoic hitman guy and all that.
The one that like saves Bond in the torture scene.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. White.
Yeah, like Mr. White, I like one of my favorite characters in this movie and all that. Because he just like sits back and he like just like, hey, it's like our organization just facilitates this stuff. We'll like introduce you and meet you and all that. And even in that scene, we're like, we don't care about the money. It's about reputation. Like it's the dude's a professional.
What's
like,
his name? Lafitte or Lafitte?
Chief.
Lashif. Lashif is terrified of him.
Yeah.
When he sees him walk in, Lashif is just terrified.
Because
Like-
because he knows, like
Yeah.
I said, and that's what's great is like it's the first time like you can kind of see like that menacing type of organization and all that. That's like just literally like one guy in the background, just like smiling and puppet mastering the whole thing. Like and like you said, and even the main guy who has Bond like naked in a chair and everything and stuff like that is terrified of this guy.
Well, by the way, we haven't really talked about that, but that is brutal.
Dude, it's one of the. It's yeah.
Wait,
like,
I have
screaming
many-
the whole time.
I have
Like,
many things to say.
I knew it was coming, and I was still flinching and like, oh, like it was hard to. It's hard to watch.
It's a pretty creative thing to
I-
come up with for a movie.
Mhm,
I'm
it
not,
is.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I
Because
great.
it is.
I-
so-
I mean, it's awful, but it's great.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's
I'm
what
not gonna lie. I found like that dry British like masochistic humor that Bond had there. I love that though.
You're gonna die scratching my balls.
Yeah, it's like no, to the left, to the like. It's like I can just imagine. Like it's like I said, you at that point you just like all right, like young age, you're like I got caught, I'm gonna die. Like this, like that's
Yeah.
probably like he just get like so yeah. It's like I'm gonna talk mad shit and all that. And I'm just like I said, like you're gonna die anyway as soon as they find out the money's gone and all that. So it's like torture and kill me all you want. You're dead too, and they're gonna do terrible things to you as well. Like I said, as a young age, and I'd be talking shit too. Like
Yeah.
By the way, this has really had nothing to do with anything, but Barry, Tom, you guys watched Banshee, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't? Well, you did?
Yeah.
Did you recognize, she's really young in this, but the main woman in Banshee is Lashif's girlfriend. So it's that actress.
I thought that yeah, the one with, like the kid was the wearing the wig during the dinner
Yeah.
party.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't put together that reference and everything, but you say that now. Yeah, I recognize
Mhm.
like the high cheekbones and everything on her.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Anyway.
that was intense too when she poisoned him and all that. Like
That was
and to run
intense.
out to the defibrillator and everything. Just looks at the cable like shit. Like just like that'd be so disheartening.
Like
dude.
you had like a whole department of MI6 panicking. Like they were like it was a total pandemonium in the office. Like and like M is screaming at him. I don't know who those guys are. I assume they're some sort of doctors or something,
Yeah, it was like-
arguing over what to do with
Yeah.
them. Like
But I love that that was awesome spy tech and everything. Talking about like the gadgets in the newer movie and everything, to where like from that little like tracking device, they could tell like, hey, quick, he's been poisoned. Like, find this, like, put this on, like, and they could like talk you through it and shit. Like, it was one of those where like I could see this having a practical use. Like that was a good one. Whereas like if you're gonna monitor an agent and everything, just other than tracking their location, like that's a useful tool.
so, let's get into this real quick. Why did Vesper save him?
Well, I assume it's because she honestly needed him to win.
But why? Because if Lashif is working for the same organization she is, they get the money one way or the other. Right? I mean, am I wrong?
I mean, I guess we really don't know what their intentions were because, like I said, that money was actually that was supposed to go toward old boy in the with the machete and all that, wasn't it? Like he lost their money.
Well, he had lost multiple people's money,
Yeah.
but Lashif was telling everybody he was giving them the money. So did
Yeah.
they just not trust Lashif? Was that
Is it clear that Lashif and Vesper are working for the same people? Maybe
What?
it was. I don't know. I'm truly asking.
Well, I mean, Mr. White identifies that both of them were working for him because he tells Lashif, because Lashif's like, I've got your money. And he's like, it's not about the money, like Tom said earlier. But then she is the one giving the money to Mr. White.
But see, I think, yeah, I mean, when Mr. White said it wasn't about the money, I could take that as like, hey, like the guy who we introduced you to and all that, like you didn't pay him his money, so now we have to kill you because it reflects on our organization that we hooked you up with them.
So do you think
That's the
Mr.
way I
White?
They may
so-
not,
so-
if there are more
yeah.
than if there's more than one organization, the other organizations may not even be aware
So you
that they're working
Well,
under.
So
the
do you think?
bigger
So Tom,
banner.
are you saying that you think Mr. White was getting the money from Vesper to give to the African fellows?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Well, because
Okay.
Okay.
well,
All
because you're doing business with all these terrorist organizations, and like you said, it's not about the money. Like you've ruined our reputation because earlier I even said we just facilitate the talk between people with money and who want to do the crime. Like we're just a third party. But if you ruin our reputation, we can't facilitate that anymore.
No, I understand that. I'm just
Yeah,
trying to
but
I'm
I
just
think
trying
that's
to
why
figure out that
like you said,
who's doing what.
well, that's what I took is they don't need the money. They got the money back, and I mean, I guess they don't. I assume that they know that Bond killed all the guys anyway. But I mean, it would still be known that like that organization and everything still took care of like the people that betrayed
No,
them.
I think I agree. I think they killed Lashif out of principle.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with trying to get the money back from him.
Yeah.
It was like, we have to kill you now because you have messed up what we were trying to do, and we have a reputation of not messing things up. But they obviously did need the money or want the money because they went to another great lengths to get it back.
Sure,
Well, I
of
mean-
course they want the money.
I mean, yeah, I was like it's
Yeah, they got to
It's
give
there.
I mean,
something.
that may not have been
But-
the prime driving factor. You know,
They got to
but
they
yeah,
got to
we're
make
gonna-
sure they got enough quarters to give the kid to play the arcade machine.
Yeah, they have lots of laundry.
So I guess what I'm saying though is like, so did they not believe that Lashif was going to give them the money so that they also didn't want Lashif to win the poker tournament, and that's why they had Vesper save him? Or did Vesper save him because she kind of did care about him at
Here's
that
something
point?
I don't understand, and it's along the lines of this. You know, if Vesper's driving goal is to obtain this money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she does that through James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Why would she not give the other 5 million up?
Huh. I didn't think of that either. That's a good
I
point.
mean, it doesn't make sense not to, frankly. Am I wrong?
Huh. No, I'm trying to think about this.
I mean, it's not something we don't have to dwell on it, but it's like, what's up with that?
I feel like we need a whiteboard and make like a big
Just
diagram.
follow it along and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's diamonds all over again.
Oh,
Like,
Jesus.
who the
Yeah.
fuck wants the money? Like just like
Hmm.
I don't know, but that did occur to me. Like, if that's what she wants, is she needs the money, then
Well,
why
'cause
would
like you
she
said,
not
they
hand over
did.
someone else's
like,
money to
you
get
could
the
say,
money?
like, yeah, White did want the money because they're pretty much, well, if you get the money for us, we'll do this and everything. Like, so I mean, like she was doing it for a degree, but like I said, there was that agreement to where like she was wanting to save Bond's life anyway too.
Well, I guess here's my thing is like, okay, what was her while they're at the poker tournament? Forget what happened later, because what they kind of talked about later after she betrays Bond is that she made this deal with White for the money to save Bond's life. So maybe that was a second deal. But what was White having her do at the tournament? Because she essentially didn't do anything out like extra. It didn't seem like she gave him the 10 million. He lost it, but that was under order. She was told to give him the 10 million. Then she refused to give the 5. She saved his life. Like I don't know. Like I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
it was-
collect intel from MI6 somehow, as much as she could.
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, she already worked for the government. So I mean, did she need to go with Bond to collect information?
But what government was
She
she
was being
working for?
She worked for the
purposefully used
Treasury.
by who was her boyfriend, and whoever her boyfriend was working for, which I'm not sure is or is not Mr. White's group. Maybe, I don't know. I can't determine. But they purposefully targeted her, knowing that she was involved with MI6 and on the financial end, and then created this scenario where we pretend your boyfriend's in danger, and now you're involved with potentially gathering hundreds of millions of dollars for us, and we're going to make you give that to us to save this man who is just using you to get money. That's how I took it,
Yeah.
Okay.
but I could be wrong.
But once again, it's a large organization, very intricate plan. like
Indeed.
I said, it's easier. It's more complex than just funding terrorism and all
Yeah.
that. Like he's doing more than what Lashif is doing. Like because like I said, Lashif is just basically just playing with the stock market with the money and all.
I think that's exactly
Yeah.
what he's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
pretty
that's what they were showing. Is like he had to make up the money because Bond foiled the plot and everything of destroying the giant double-decker plane and all.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, he took a long shot bet on a stock. Is like that company was supposed to go bankrupt so he could cash out. Didn't happen, so now he has to win this tournament because the money's not there.
Yeah.
Like that was supposed to be his payday and all. Like
I'm glad you mentioned that scene too. That's a great action scene.
dude, old boy that was driving the truck was just psychotic, just focused and all that. He was just on a mission.
He was.
He was but the boy, he's just stoically walking everywhere, changing uniforms and everything.
He was a very professional at this. Yes.
His character honestly reminded me of the Liquid Terminator from Terminator 2. The exact same acting. The dude doesn't blink. He's very robotic in the movements and everything. Yeah, you modeled that character there. You were in mode. And I loved that Bond just watched him blow up. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was a great
He
scene.
just beat the crap out of that truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know we touched on it, but we don't think we really talked about it in depth. The torture scene. To go back to it, I was trying to think about this after I was watching it. Have we ever seen Bond tortured like that? I don't mean like hitting in the balls. I mean have we ever actually seen Bond tortured? We've seen him threatened to be tortured and smacked around and things like that. But have we ever actually watched somebody torture Bond before? 'Cause I don't think we have.
No,
think
he
so.
usually talks his way out of it.
The laser scene, but they don't actually touch him.
Honestly,
You know what I mean?
the first one that came to my mind was that Live and Let Die with was it Teehee or whatever, the guy with the claw?
Teehee, yep.
Yeah, where they talked about cutting him up when he's stuck in the chair and all that.
Yeah, but he gets out of it.
Yeah, but he talks his way out.
Yeah, he
That's
talks
the
his
thing,
way
is,
out of
but
it,
that's Bond. That's where it is. He purposely walks into stupid situations and is all right, I'll just talk my way out.
Mhm.
Well, he was tortured at the beginning of Die Another Day.
Can you refresh my
by the
memory?
North Koreans, right?
Oh yeah.
I guess.
Oh,
yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was nothing but the whole
Well,
montage was
for
torture
for a whole year.
It was
Yeah.
the best torture montage
That's true.
ever put on film.
No, I mean wasn't
Bold
that all
statement, but
Is that a thing? Torture montage?
oh,
was
I
just making a
guarantee you're
joke.
gonna get a bunch of flood. Yeah,
But
it's
I
they're
did
gonna
think it was
show-
a great way to, set the scene. But anyway, that's one time.
Yeah,
that it
especially in the
happened.
beginning, because remember they tied that in with the scorpion venom and everything. They did a good job on that.
Yeah.
that whole montage was all nothing but torture scene.
You're right, Barry. I was wrong. We have seen him
that's all
tortured.
right.
We've seen him tortured in the past.
And
So-
it was Brosnan of all people.
Yeah.
Like,
So
God
that's
damn.
something I wanted to ask. Given that scene specifically, are there any of the other former Bond actors that you could see being able to do that scene, to that quality? I love Roger Moore, and I'm
Dalton.
trying to think, could
Dalton.
Moore do that scene?
Dalton.
I mean, he's a professional actor. I'm guessing he could.
are we,
But, so
are
you
we-
think Dalton could definitely pull that off? All right.
I'll be honest with you. I love Sean Connery, but I struggle to see Connery in that role. I struggle to see Moore in that role. If I was gonna see another one, and this is an if, it would be Dalton. I think.
Oh, I could see Brosnan doing it well.
Oh, no one's gonna throw out Lazenby.
We threw him out a long time ago, Tom.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Sons of bitches.
Craig is different than a lot of the other Bonds,
Yes.
but Craig has that hardness and that I don't know how the crudeness to him. This scene is very fitting to
He's a
him.
brute.
He is.
Craig's run as Bond is, in my opinion, more darker than other Bonds. Like he just kind of has a different tone to his movies and the way he is, and that's a dark scene.
It is, yeah.
It's a pretty dark scene.
I think the only movie that really compares to the brutalness and the darkness of some of the Craig stuff is the Dalton movie, where he pretty much goes on his rampage.
Yeah.
Which one is that, Ray?
License to Kill.
Is that License to Kill? Yeah.
With the shark, shark
Yep.
stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but even that, the brutality and that's more like '80s action type steel. Like it's
Oh,
but
we
it's
get very
still rough, dude.
actiony with the Dalton stuff here for
Because
for
you
long.
had the guy that was in that pressure chamber and he just exploded.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
what I
true.
mean. But that's very
That's true.
80, like if you like watched movies around that time, late '80s and stuff, to where like you've seen like nonsense like that from across the board in movies. So I mean, like I think that was just something that was.
Well,
happening
there's
at
a
the
little
time.
bit of there's a little bit of brutishness now. It's like 60s, 70s brutishness, not today's brutishness. But there's a little bit of brutishness after Tracy's death in the movie following it. Which movie is that?
Live and Let Die.
Yeah, Live and Let Die. At the beginning of that, he's going on his rampage
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But
No.
once again, it's from first person view. And
Yeah.
they definitely
Mhm.
adapted it to the audience at the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they weren't given a just rampage Bond. Like
I loved the scene on. Were they in Venice? Whenever I
Yeah.
see
they
houses on a waterfront, I always assume
yeah,
Venice.
they were.
but
It was.
I loved that. It was great action in it, first of all, and then watching this building collapse
And we're on a
into
boat.
the waterway.
In Italy, like,
I thought it was really just really a cool thing to watch, and it was
Oh,
shot
yeah.
well, and yeah, I really enjoyed that.
So, what did you guys think? I mean, this is not the first time we've seen this. It should be the first time we've seen it, but it's not. Bond is falling in love and is quitting MI6. We've seen that story before with Lazenby's movie. So, like, what did you all think of that?
Once again, I think it was just trying to redeem that character on her part.
Redeem her or him?
Her,
Okay.
like, because like I said, it was just more of an effort and everything. I think they were trying to really drive home that she loved him up to that point and everything, or at least under the guise of it. But
I didn't look at it that way. Maybe I just missed it. But I was looking at it as, again, like I mentioned earlier, like he finally let somebody in, and he's fallen head over heels for her, and that's what makes the scenes following so much worse.
Yeah, I think of course, in this movie, he's a very young new agent, and I
man's
mean, I
almost
don't.
40.
The man's not
Like,
he's
just
not like
like-
he's not a sociopath or something, So he's a man. So do I want this life of basically just living in hotels and nearly dying and not having anybody in my life? Or hey, here's an opportunity with somebody who I think I love, and so it makes sense for him at this point in his life to have that conflict.
No, I go different. If I've been in the if I've been in the military and I've honed a skill like that for like basically right out of high school and all that, I finally made it as a 00. I'm gonna quit after my first successful mission? No, in no way.
Well,
Not at all. Especially at like the age of 39 or whatever.
you may feel differently after
Like-
you've had to murder 9 or kill 9 people.
He's been murdering people the whole movie.
Right, but at some point, again, I go back to
I
James
would
Bond
shoot
is not a
everybody that did
sociopath.
parkour after this if I was
Yeah.
him.
Well, he does talk about that. I'm trying to save what's left of my soul.
Yeah,
He does say
I
that.
totally. That makes perfect sense to me.
I mean, Barry's not wrong. I mean, he just killed 9 people, and it's the first 9 people. It's not like this is like number 39 through 48,
Right,
like where it's like old hat to him again. This is the first 9 people.
And he was like 2 seconds away from being dead himself.
That's true.
What's her name walking up to the car and plugging his shit back in?
Mm-hmm, that's true too.
Well, I mean, he is an orphan,
Taxing
guys,
event.
That'll
He is
make
an
a man
orphan.
ponder, Tom.
with abandonment issues.
Nonsense. The whole thing, just not. It just doesn't ring realistic.
I
I don't
get
know
where you're
about
coming
that.
From. I just think they had a certain point they wanted to drive home to set
No,
up an overall arc,
and that's
how
my
they
thing
did
is
it.
I get it because I get what it leads into in the next one and everything. We'll talk to that in the next episode and all, but
Yeah.
no, I
I don't. By the way, I can't buy into your last comment though.
which
It's
one?
not unrealistic that he falls in love. People fall in love every day.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you're gonna quit a lifelong career of it. Like you're just gonna
He just
resign.
had his genitals like smashed and bashed.
He was healed and on a boat by the time he was there.
We don't know if he's even a real man.
Well, I'll tell you
He's
this.
got a pinky wave.
I don't-
Like,
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know if this matters or not.
It's all
But
mushed down there.
in the book, okay, in the book, after the torture, because that's the torture thing happens the same way in the book, and after that, he's in the hospital, that hospital place he's at in the movie, for 3 months, and during that time, she's
the whole money thing, man.
she's there like helping nurse him back to health, and they're like falling in love, and there's this huge sexual tension with him, but he has no use of his junk. So like they build this sexual tension throughout this whole thing, and then he finally gets use of his junk again, and like you know what I mean? Like it's
It's a beautiful story.
So see, he was booty blind. He didn't get any for 3 months, and he finally got a piece of ass and wants to quit. That's what happened here,
Wow.
Barry.
I mean,
That's what
that's
happened.
one way to frame it.
What we're seeing here is a working man that was busy, that got like a dry spell, and then decided to quit his job. Unacceptable, Barry. Like,
That's not what a real man does.
okay. So am I I have it written here in my notes. Am I the only one that and I think that partially, part of me thinks they did it on purpose, but that they leave the Vesper Bond Mr. White thing a complete mess. You're not really 100% sure what the hell happened. Like Bond believes this happened, Mr. White believes this happened. M tells you she thinks this is what happened.
in this, yeah, it's left on that cliffhanger, but
Yeah, I'm not talking about the next movie.
yeah, I was say yeah,
like-
but like you said, it's by design.
Yeah.
It's
It's on purpose.
It's clearly somewhat clear, as I still can't define it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's on purpose. Even maybe I'm just dumb. That's
I
very
feel like the end of the
possible.
movie, they should have done a little bit more explaining at the end, like some of that, like how long they were. Like we've spoken multiple times already about how like he's in the hospital for 3 months, and I feel like that last part of the movie is really quick, and they don't really explain
does,
the
yeah.
time frame of what's
Yeah.
going on.
Oh
or
yeah,
how
no,
long
because
they've been
that
there.
until
And it kind of just makes the end of the
Well,
movie a little.
until he said the
They
time
couldn't
frame
have
of
put up
that,
a
yeah.
2 months later.
yeah,
yeah.
like
Mhm.
that right
No.
there would explain a lot more.
I-
about these
Explain-
I
he would
100%
explain the
Right,
money
the
thing
time, the
immediately.
chronology is.
I 100% agree with you. Yeah, I watched. I mean, you Wade and Tom, you know who I'm talking about. I watched this movie with my grandpa, and who likes James Bond. And we were watching the movie, and we get to the part where they hook up Vesper and Bond in the hospital, and Grandpa said out loud, "He can't have sex with her. He just got his junk beat in yesterday," and and I'm like, it
makes
does
sense.
kind of appear that way. Like I know things that the person watching the movie doesn't know because I read the book.
Yeah,
Like
I never read the book. To me, it just seems like they're there for a couple of days.
See,
yeah.
I only read it. I read it honestly as like 2 to 3 weeks,
Yeah,
just because
like,
the whole money
I
thing.
assumed
When
it wasn't
Yeah.
actually a day or two. Your balls aren't going to heal.
yeah,
I mean, I wish they could. That's cool. But,
right?
so obviously, you assume it's later, but you don't know, and they run through all that so quickly. You just automatically assume that
it is just pretty much
Mhm.
it's just kind of
They do
Short
cram it.
period
I
of
think they were trying to end the movie because
Well-
they knew the movie was getting long.
They had
Yeah,
they,
you're
they had to
probably
get to
right.
that the Italian scene. Like,
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
that was such a good that's what they were really trying to they were getting to that 'cause that was
I mean, this
badass.
is a
It is.
2.5 hour movie already. So if they would have, I mean, you're right. They probably could have fixed it with a 2 months later. But
To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't. It didn't feel like 2.5 hours.
no, I liked the movie.
Yeah,
I
was
wasn't
saying,
bored
I'm-
sitting there
I'm
going,
not
"Oh
gonna
my
lie,
gosh,
dude.
I can't believe it's 2.5
No,
hours."
even during like the poker, like I said, I love poker movies in general. So like I could have sat there and just watched them like just be bitchy to each other the whole time, and like, oh, I'm gonna order a real specific martini, and everybody is just to piss you
Yeah.
off, like, and gonna be the popular guy at the table and shit like that.
Mhm.
Like I just love that mentality. Like that's just fun. Like,
Well, speaking of the poker, let's talk about this for a second. Do you really think that two agencies like MI6 and the CIA would wager $10 million
Yes.
to try and win a poker tournament instead of just going in and busting it up?
Yes.
Like we're just gonna send an agent in to play poker and see if we can stop
Yes,
this.
like the American government's wasted way much more
No,
taxpayer
I'm
money.
not saying they don't. I'm not saying they don't waste money. I'm not denying that at all.
I can
But like,
totally see it. Like just totally like, hey, like just some just harebrained Looney Tune plan that they come up with.
Like,
yeah.
Probably something Trump came up with.
I could totally see it. Well, like, hey, it's okay. It's taxpayer money. Fuck them. Like it. Like,
but I
doesn't
mean,
matter.
my thing is like they tell you at the beginning, hey, you have to be a mafia boss or a terrorist boss to be invited to play at this.
Yeah.
So we know that there's a room full of terrorist and mafia bosses, and we're not going to go in and take them out.
Yeah.
We're going to go play poker with them.
Well, doesn't it depend on where they're at if they can just walk in there and get them?
Oh, I was gonna honestly.
Oh, you can
say,
go, you can just walk in and kill people anywhere as long as you don't get caught. I guess.
really thought you were gonna say-
International law and so forth. So yeah.
I really thought you were gonna say, doesn't it depend on where you are if you're either a freedom fighter or a terrorist? Like, and I was like, ooh, yeah, like don't act like we haven't funded terrorists if we profit. Like,
So I just
so
want like the actual location on if you can just
Oh, yeah,
walk in
like-
there and just start.
I was
They-
gonna say, yeah, you
They
can't.
do tell us where they play poker at, but I can't
They
remember where
do.
it's at.
Yeah.
I need to actually tell you a couple times. So I can't remember what it is.
Ray, you got it written down over there somewhere?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna say Sweden just
I
because
assumed it
the
was somewhere
giant
like
Swede was there.
Monaco or something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Some,
Monaco does sound
some
familiar.
fancy schmancy
Yeah.
place.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but the Swedish guy he was also a great character. Like he's just so happy.
Oh, the banker, the Swedish banker.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like I said, he's surrounded by
Well,
like
he's
some of
got
the
all that
most.
Holocaust money.
Well, it's like all these killers all around, and he's just like, like let's get this started. Just so happy all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
You know,
Friendly chap.
you know who else was
Showed up with,
over the
like-
top friendly was the guy that they have to type the codes in for to get the money.
That's the same guy.
yeah, same guy.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
like-
gotcha, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
'cause
has
he-
that smile the whole time.
Yeah, because he
It's
even
like,
said,
yeah.
big motherfucker though. You see, just like how
Yeah.
tall he was and everything. His
It-
hands when he just
It really comes
Like-
across that way when he's sitting at his desk when Bond calls him back because he's like towering over that desk.
yeah,
I think he is a big guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude's gotta be massive. I like even the joke there. It's like, oh, it didn't show up with chocolates, but like, forgive me. Like, just like he
Mhm.
plays along with the stereotype and all. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude's
He's
hilarious.
a good character.
and he's just around. Like I said, he's just around killers. Like he's just a banker. Like,
Just doing his
it-
job.
yeah. It's like, do you
Yeah.
understand that you're funding terrorists in a way? Like,
One of the character we haven't talked much about him was Mathis.
Mathis,
Obviously,
yeah.
he's a big part of the movie.
yeah.
You know, I guess basically I just brought him up to hear what people think about
Oh,
him. And
I liked Mathis's character
Yeah.
throughout. It's a little disappointing at the end that he's arrested and essentially taken to prison.
Yeah.
Um,
But the way I viewed Mathis's character is I looked at him because I was trying to pretty much all the ones we've seen before, like because you're basically building a whole like bringing the cast back. So you have Bond, M, we've seen Felix in it. So like the way I seen Mathis's character is he's like that Russian mafia
yeah,
boss that
like
we've
the
seen. Yeah.
helper.
Yeah, like you're that guy and everything, to where it's like you have the connection here, but you're also kind of this bumbly, funny fuck and everything that's around. Like, yeah, that's the way I took his character and all that. But I liked him. I thought he was developed well.
he was, and he's essentially the better version, a much better version of the guy at the beginning that messes everything up. He's just helping Bond do things.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, oh, here's some advice. Oh, I'll get those bodies taken care of for you.
Well-
Oh, I'll talk to the girl. Like, you know what?
Yeah. That was disappointing though when you see like, it turns out your friend Mathis is our friend Mathis. Like
Yeah.
that was a
That
disappointing
kind of hurt
speech.
my
and-
heart a little bit.
Yeah,
it
I was
did,
like,
yeah.
oh, like, because that's what made me think of like the Rush is like, oh, so that's what his character was replaced and all.
Yeah, and then you got, then he like tells Vesper like, oh, I did have him at the beginning of the poker game, but Mathis told him I knew his tell.
Yeah.
And like everything kind of comes unwound at that point. You're like, oh, Bond could have beat him at the very beginning of the poker game.
Right.
Like, holy crap, this could have been over a lot faster.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm saying Bond never would have suspected Mathis. I'm guessing at some point he would have considered it. But, him saying that because he figured Bond was as good as dead, really screwed Mathis over ultimately.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention the car accident scene. Holy cow, it's flipping awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
Not only that
That's
though,
all I
but
got.
I
It's
don't know
awesome.
that unless you're a damn Jedi, you have quick enough reflexes not to run her over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're coming around that turn. I mean,
Yeah.
he's booking it too.
Yeah, he
would
is.
have to immediately.
Yeah, watching that
In a sports car.
Aston Martin flip over and over again, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, and it's a wicked wreck. Like there's like you're not questioning that he's out of it when they pull him out of that car
Oh, no.
and not able to defend himself because you'd be so disoriented
Oh, my
and
goodness, yeah.
and
I
out
would
of it.
just hope that I'm passed out. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even want to be awake.
Yeah,
Like I would
Yeah.
not want to be because I'd be like I'm going into shock. I just want to pass out. Like no, but also the beginning of that scene actually reminded me though of the car chase scene and everything in Goldfinger. Like the hillsides and everything, the
Oh,
windy
yeah,
roads and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. I was like, all right, I like this. Like to me, it was just another throwback that I've seen before. Like,
Only it's in the dark instead of in the daytime.
yeah, but that's what there was a lot of little stuff like that. I was like, how many little things can I find that are really just like homages to the older movies? Like that's what I was after.
Mm-hmm.
That's always nice to see. Yeah, I thought all in all, man, it was a really fun movie. It was really smartly written. I will admit, to some current confusion as to the entirety of what was going on, who was doing what, who was working for who, whatever. But beyond that, it's a really good James Bond movie, and maybe even like someone who's not an older person, like 60 or older, and they're like, oh, I want to watch a James Bond. It might be the one I would say, watch this one. It may hook them quicker than any other ones.
It wouldn't be a bad introduction, especially if you knew that they wouldn't like be into the older ones with just zero special effects and the way the fight scenes are choreographed. Like the older ones, you have to go into almost knowing like how acting was and cinema was at the time.
I agree. If you gave me a teenager and said, "Hey, introduce them to James Bond and get them to want to watch more," this probably would be the thing you'd show them first.
You just described me. I was like 13 when this movie came out. And
Yeah.
Daniel Craig is my favorite James Bond.
Hey.
I'm kind of a little taken back that you hadn't watched Bond previous to that, because I mean,
watched Bonds.
oh,
I just-
okay,
He's pretty young.
I mean,
you know.
Grandpa Mallet. made
right,
us watch
yeah,
Bond.
yeah, we watch Bond all the
I
time,
watched
yeah.
all kinds of Connery ones when I was real little.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I've seen most of the Bronson ones, a lot of the Connery ones. It's the Moore and Dalton ones I'm not overly familiar with.
Didn't even mention Lazenby again.
Wow.
Have you ever seen the Lazenby one?
No, I've read about them, but I've never seen it.
Well, I will say this: it is towards the. You can see it up there on our rankings. It's like the second from the bottom, but it is not the travesty that it's made out to be. It's not this unwatchable movie that you read about online or whatever. Like it's a solid movie. It's
the punching bag of the 007.
Yeah,
That's all it
yeah,
is. Where, like,
yeah.
it's just easy to shit on Lazenby is all. Like,
I've heard a lot of people who claim to be big James Bond fans, like one of their favorites.
Really.
Yeah.
I have come across like other people like they don't trash it as like it used to be.
No.
Like I said, it was a running joke. I remember it when I was a kid. And everything.
Absolutely.
Like, you just say the last name, people will start laughing. It's like, all right, whatever. It's a punchline. Like,
Well, I think we've talked about this in the past. If you took one of these other actors and put them in Lazenby's role, it probably looked at as a really good movie because the plot in the movie is not an issue.
no.
Anyway, we don't need to get off on a Her Majesty's Secret Service. Do we have anything else we want to go over in this movie before we move on?
No, I'll say I've said it.
Ray, you got something there,
I
buddy?
mean, I got something funny. I don't know if it's appropriate.
You make that decision, buddy. We can't make it for you.
I think we're censoring ourselves now. Look at you
No,
maturing.
I don't know.
And
Okay,
on,
this is much better than Sports
and on camera.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and read it.
Like,
All right. So this is from the part when he puts in the code of her name. And I wrote this down. I'm like, in the last 30 minutes of the movie, Bond got that girl so wet, I thought he might have to get her a packet of pins so that she didn't drip all over the floor.
Yeah, I think they tried to mash the sexual tension into like 2 scenes instead of like over the course of 3 months.
yeah, because that and I think that didn't land as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think if they would have, even if you would have shown like a little bit of the love interest like that, and then did what you said like the 3 months later or whatever, you would have known that it went that long over time.
Mhm.
I think that would have got the message across way easier. But like I said, when you try to cram it in there as if they've been there, like you said, 48 hours or whatever.
There's the perfect time for a montage, a short montage
Yeah.
showing them engaging with each other while he heals, and it can be short. That's how you use a montage, not like Rocky Four.
Yeah.
Small snippets.
Well, that's a sign of things to come, listeners.
That's what she
Um,
said.
Anyway, all right. So now we move on from our movie talk to our rankings. And the rankings segment is here. So, body count first up. And guys, I only have a 1
She didn't. Oh.
because he doesn't sleep with the girl at the beginning. She goes in the bedroom and he runs out because he has to get on the plane.
He does, yeah, because he orders like the stuff, like the caviar and champagne or whatever for one.
Then you see it. Then you see him racing out in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
So it's just Vesper. This is their first ever one.
I could have swore that he actually got another.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he popped her twice, but that's only
Oh,
one
he
thing.
sleeps with her multiple times, yeah. But I mean, it's the only girl.
Yeah.
I could have swore there was another, but I can't prove otherwise
Well,
right now at the moment.
I mean, he
can't tell
came
if I'm thinking
close
of it.
with the beautiful woman who rode the horse.
I think she's prettier than Vesper, by the
Oh,
way.
goodness, yeah,
I
beautiful
agree.
woman.
Yeah.
I thought he
She's
didn't
too-
know. He did
she's
get
hot.
the. He
No,
did.
he didn't.
No,
What?
he
No,
ordered
he
the
makes out
champagne.
with
He
her,
rolled out.
and then they say they're going to have sex, and then she goes in the bedroom, and he gets the phone call saying or she gets the phone call saying that he's getting on the airplane. He's like, I've got to catch him, and he follows. He gets on the same airplane as him.
Yeah, he orders room service, and then all of a sudden you see him racing off in the car he just won from the guy that's leaving.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Yeah, he ordered
yeah,
one
that would have
glass.
been the fun one to get with.
Right,
Yeah.
I agree.
The best, and then she's dead right after that.
Yeah,
See,
but then
that's
she's
how
dead.
That's
yeah.
how you know he's a rookie agent, because older Bond would have slept with her before leaving. That's the mature thing to do.
It's a prequel. He's working his way up.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
But that's like I said, that's
right.
maturity.
It's going to be a
Like,
character arc.
yeah, like that's
He's
So
making
we're at-
mistakes in this stage.
God, that
So
is disappointing.
This is our first ever movie with 1.
We're up to
Haven't we had
56.
movies with 0 before though?
No, there's no zeros.
Oh, sweet Jesus, thank God.
I applaud his discretion.
And then that it makes it 56
Come on,
girls
she rides
through
a
22
horse.
movies.
Would have been a blast. Like,
So we are definitely falling off our mark of 3 a movie, and it's going to continue to do that, unfortunately.
damn it, Craig.
So there is that. Now we will move into our Bond girl rankings, and obviously Vesper is our Bond girl here in this movie.
Hello, ladies.
And we will go around the room here, skipping Tom as our usual. Barry, where do you think you have Vesper
Oh, boy.
on our Bond girl rankings?
Why do you get skipped?
Because he won't make a decision.
Okay.
So the first few episodes, I was like, "Hey Tom, you're up," and then Tom would go, "You got to come back to me." So I just started skipping him every episode.
Yeah, I'm going to rank her pretty high, and for what are my usual reasons. First of all, obviously, she's a very attractive woman.
Very much so.
You know, so and she's key to the story, and the actress does a great job. So I'd put her. I'll put her at 4. I can't have Denise Richards ahead of her, and nothing against Denise
What you?
Richards.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Whoa.
What the fuck, dude?
But I don't just rate on just the beauty.
Well,
you know.
I don't have anything like special about Christmas, but what do you have against Denise Richards? I feel like there were shots fired there.
Well, no. I just mean in terms of the character in the movie, and
Oh, we're back to that. Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. All right, gotcha. Well, Willard, what do you? I know this is your first time having to do the rankings, but you got a ranking for us here?
I'm not sure how to go about this.
They say you can only decide based on how hot you think she
Okay,
is,
if
but
it's
that
just-
is not what I do.
All right, just on hotness.
Because I don't know about you, Tom, but I'm probably not going to marry any of these chicks on here, so I don't need to take anything else into account.
I'm not gonna lie, Ray. The
Yeah,
boy in the middle.
unfortunately, like, it's like,
What?
I said I'm not gonna lie.
like
The
somebody's
boy in the
be like
middle is
robbing
throwing
the
me
grave.
off.
Hey, now, calm down. Let me go into
Looks
my
like
girl
G.I.
like
Joe out
that.
there.
He's a good kid.
Oh,
Nate.
Bouvier's catching
Man.
strays from old Wade over there.
Dude, I mean, man.
Good stuff. I'd probably put her in the middle to low end, maybe. Yeah, I'll put her at 21.
21. Okay.
21, so
You don't get much more low end than that.
below Kissy?
I mean,
Wow,
just
okay,
hot,
all right.
she's all right.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
Ray, what you got, buddy?
Right after Pam.
Right after Pam, so you're going 14?
Yep.
Nobody
All right.
beats Pam.
Well, I was going to put her at 10. So we're all over the place here, guys. Tom, where are you at, sir?
I was honestly thinking around the 12 range.
12
Oh, wow.
range. So
Okay.
we've got a 4, a 10, a 12, a 14, and a 21. We are literally 4 to 21.
Well, as usual, I will go ahead and cede my position
Well, and
in
I'll go ahead,
recognition that it is
she
not
was-
the popular position. So I will accept the placement somewhere between 12 and 24 or wherever you guys like.
Well, I definitely question her usefulness other than saving Bond and all, but I feel like anybody who needed him alive would have done that. Because really, who was she? She just knew a code. That's all that.
No, she just plugged a wire in.
Well, no, but I mean, like,
Oh, you
but
mean she knew the
yeah,
code.
I was
Okay,
like,
yeah.
she like, oh, you're just an accountant.
She's a very developed character.
I will say,
Yeah.
I'll give it to as a character. Yeah, they definitely developed hers more than Denise Richards. Like,
Right.
like that was one where I don't think she had more than just a few lines of dialogue in that.
And she
whole
was
movie.
dumb as hell.
Unfortunately,
I don't know.
Hey,
She's
but
a
it made
nuclear
up. She
physicist.
made up for
Well,
it.
I mean, come on.
yeah, okay. She was ditzy as hell, I
Not
guess is a
once
better way
did
to
I
put
see
it.
an equation how to split it.
All right, so
So
what?
now we just have to land on an agreed upon number.
So I guess Wade,
Yeah.
you're our low man here. Okay, the rest of us are in the middle line here. You're in the bottom line. So why so low? I guess is what I'm saying. Like I know you haven't seen the movies recently of these other women, so it may be a little bit more difficult for you. But what to picture the other women? I mean,
Yeah.
other than the pictures that are on the screen, obviously.
Oh, these just aren't really my rankings. So people I find more attractive than others are just all over the fucking map.
Exactly.
So I was just like,
Wade's
I'm just gonna
rankings.
throw her at the end.
I just love it. That was organic, and you said it. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I'm just.
I mean, you just said movie and looks like a boy, and then you put Vesper below her.
I just
Yeah,
don't mess
Wade, what's
no
up with
red.
that?
It is what it is.
he never said he didn't like boys.
This podcast is not about that.
You're not like Ray. You're not a bouvier attracted person, are you?
What? Wait.
A
say that again.
bouvier attracted person.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so.
So I'm at 10, and Ray's at 14. Tom's in the middle of us at 12.
Okay, I'll just give me a minute to give a more.
We're
Okay.
not trying
Yes,
to.
here.
We're not trying to push you to go either way. But I mean, 14 would be very helpful.
All right, retell me the positions of everyone else again, real quick.
Ray was at, or not Ray, sorry, Barry was at 4.
Okay.
I was at 10. Tom is at 12, and Ray is at 14. And you were at 21. Still ahead of Tracy. Nobody likes him some Tracy.
There's a 12 and a 14.
Mm-hmm.
I can just move right into 13.
Of course.
Split the difference.
I thought it was a good move.
I can drop down to a 13 with you, Wade.
All right.
Sticking it to you, aren't they, Ray?
That's what I like. Though. I like it to come out hot like that, just right like. Urgh. Good job, Wade. You know what? We can do that. I'll allow it.
All right, fair enough. I'll come
I'll
down to
allow it.
13. I can
I'll
do
allow
it.
You're coming up. Oh no, you're going down.
I was at
Like,
10. Yeah.
See if I can move all these.
I've tried to move Tatiana down pretty regularly, and you guys resist me.
Which one's
11.
But I like the blue nighty. I'm trying to keep her where she's at. Like,
Barry hates
about
that
it.
movie, but he likes him some Tatiana.
Yeah, well, everything's got some good qualities to it.
Yeah.
like,
All right, so I think we went with 13 there, correct, Ray?
Yep, 13.
All right, Vesper slots in at 13. All right, now we move in to our actual movie rankings. So, Barry, where do you want to put Casino Royale on our movie list?
I always like to preface by saying this is based on the list that's already there. But
Of course.
this may, even though I've used this number in on previous movies, it may be there regardless. I'm going to go with 1.
1.
I'm gonna
One?
go 1. Absolutely. It's a
Yikes, Barry.
I don't
I'm
even
not
really. I'm not a Daniel Craig guy. I think he has like no charm about it, and he doesn't even seem like James Bond. But it's a great, great movie.
I'm not gonna lie, Barry. I'm surprised, but I'm also a little impressed. You went 1.
Yeah.
Okay, Wade, where you got, buddy?
Oof. Probably put it. I go 5.
5. Okay.
I like your all's top 4.
Okay. Ray.
I gotta. Oh, never say never. I'll go 6. I think I'll go 6.
6. All right. I personally am going 3.
Doctor, no.
And now that comes back to Tom.
I was with Ray on 6.
6.
Hell yeah, Tommy.
Yeah. Well, because like I said, like you look at like the first 4, and even like we're looking at 5 and everything. We're at GoldenEye. It's, like I said, I liked it more than GoldenEye and everything. But like I said, as far as like I said, starting entirely from scratch, brand new Bond and everything like that, it definitely belongs in the top 10. And I think 6 is a good one.
Well, you said you liked it better than GoldenEye, so why not 5?
Yeah. No, I said I like up to GoldenEye.
Oh.
I like GoldenEye. Yeah, I like GoldenEye better. Like,
So we have 2 6s, a 4, a 3, or 5, a 3, and a 1.
yeah. Because
So we're all right there at the top
Yeah.
somewhere.
Because my thing is like, I mean, there was like you said, it's a reboot. You're trying different things, but keeping some of the old and all that. But I mean, even something as simple as like the Henchman alone in like the top 5, like there was no menacing henchman in this movie type deal, and it's like I said, you don't have to have one. I get you're doing a different thing, but
You had the weirdo guy with the patch.
yeah, but it was just one of those things that some of the things that made the movie so iconic and everything. Like I said, even though it is like a reboot, they just weren't here. So like I said, the other movies just I don't know, they just land better for me.
Okay.
Could we be agreeable to slotting it in at 4?
I may come up to 5, like.
That's
I can land with Wade and everything. I can bump GoldenEye down 1, but
Yeah, I can go with 5.
like I said,
I'm fine with that.
Well, Barry's being very generous here, but Barry's at 1,
he is. But
and
like,
I'm at 3, and you guys are like, well, no, I'm just refusing to move. So, like,
no, I didn't. I came
I
up
said
1.
5.
Like yeah,
so,
like,
so you said you would come up 1, so he could go down 5.
Yeah, because he's trying to knock From Russia with Love down another peg, and I'm trying to block the slot here.
Is that one of
oh,
your
I didn't
faves,
even.
Ray?
I didn't even catch that one and all that. But,
I
no,
caught
but
that
like-
before I even
Is
walked
that
in
like
the
your
house.
favorite one, right?
Huh?
Is that your favorite one or something?
I like that a lot, but he don't like the train for 40
No,
minutes.
he doesn't like Rush with Love. It's an ongoing thing we do with Barry.
Just because the train?
So much train.
Okay. I just need to know the full effect of the train.
but like I said, like there's iconic, endearing things in easily the first 4 or 5 and everything, and like I said, I just can't think of anything in this movie that stands alone with it. Like nobody, like years and years from now.
Genital torture.
I was say the torture scene is one of the most iconic Bond scenes ever.
Well, yeah, because the guy's getting hit in the nuts. And all that.
Well.
But you're not exactly you're not giving me anything good quality
I
here.
think
It's like
that
it's low hanging fruit.
Car crash is pretty iconic, in my opinion.
No, but not one person has ever said to me is like, "Oh, did you watch the first Daniel Craig movie? The car crash at the end is awesome." Like, that is
Has
never.
anybody ever come up to you and say, "Hey, remember that ball bashing?"
No,
somebody said
no,
that to you?
Nobody says that either. But you can see references from Old Boy with the Hat and GoldenEye references and pop culture everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there are no pop culture references and all that to this movie.
All right. Well, I guess this is the last I'll say on it is I am very generous with caving on the rankings. I do it every time. I'm willing to land wherever, but I do think 4 is a fair offering considering Alex is also, above 4.
Well, I mean, I haven't heard anybody else's. No, I mean, I'm the only one talking at the moment. So like, people, I've actually came up one and everything too where Wade is. So I was like, what is everybody else? What's their reasoning?
Ray, did you do that as well?
What?
Say you come up to 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so we now have 3 people at 5.
And I'm fine with 5. I'm not fine with Never Say Never Again being 7, but that's an entirely different matter.
There are some surprise. If you'd have told me this was our list before we started, outside of the top couple, I would have told you no way. There's no way we would have put some of these up where we did. But
I would have think GoldenEye would have been in the top 3, to be honest.
not only that, but like I never would have thought we would have put View to a Kill in the top 10.
Oh yeah.
You Only Live Twice is in the top 10. License to Kill is number 11. Like these are not things I saw happening previous.
Definitely not when we started it. But once again, when
Yeah,
we
that's what I
started,
mean, yeah.
I'm just going off memory. Rewatching
Right.
is different
Yeah.
and all, but
Well, I can accept 5 if that's the offer. That seems to be Ray's offer.
I,
And Ray's a fair man.
I try to be,
I like how it was Wade's original ranking, though. He gets a raise offer, but only because he came to our side. Like,
I think Alex is a little less inclined.
Well, I will say this though. Wade and I talked on the phone. Was it yesterday, Wade? And I said I don't see a way I can accept this movie going outside of the top 5.
You did say that you wanted it top 5.
Yeah.
it lands
Okay.
exactly at 5. You're not wrong. Like,
And I don't see any of the other Craig movies bumping it. This is my personal opinion.
Well,
It would
I
be-
mean,
I honestly haven't seen the very last one, but it's like I would definitely be interested in the arguments if they do.
This is the end.
Because, like you said, especially at the top 5, because this will bump GoldenEye down to 6. So yeah, now you're only saying that like we got a Craig movie in 5, and then it's like 1 through 4. Like, how are you gonna squeak out? Because that means no matter what, if it does get in the top 5, it's gonna bump this movie down 1.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I haven't even seen it, but Spectre is not taking anybody out of the top 5 from what I gather.
I'm not like I haven't seen it so long, but I want it to be good.
I've heard. Yeah.
I don't mind Spectre.
That's my thing. Is I want so much out of it. Like,
No, Spectre has like just on its head, just face value. Spectre has the potential to be so awesome. But yeah, we won't talk about that right now. We really can't get to 4.
I'd really love it to see it at
you
4.
haven't made an argument yet. All you've done is tell us what you told Wade on the phone. Like, there hasn't been there hasn't been a logical argument one way or another. Like,
Yeah, I feel like
Well, he
somebody
ranked it
dissed
at
me
3,
one
I
time for
ranked it
putting
at
up an argument
1.
like that.
I just did math. I mean,
Yeah.
essentially.
And then I think the
well, no,
rest
but I
of you
mean, like,
guys-
he's not like you got justified everything. Like you're saying numbers. Like,
Well, I mean, you said pop culture. I think there's a lot of nostalgia in this movie, which would be pop culture.
from older movies.
Yeah, from past movies. Yes.
Yeah, but it's nothing original. It's basically just like a 2.5 hour then montage from older movies. If we're going that route,
No. It is not a montage, and it's not.
You're just reheating old Bond stuff and putting Craig's face on it.
That's not at all what this movie is. We've
That
never
is-
seen anything like this movie.
Everything was the same here.
the movie had a lot of great stuff in it. The free running was flipping awesome. The tension with the card game was awesome.
Which Tom agrees with, but he's just being
Some
intentionally
of the
difficult
bad
right
guys
now.
were awesome. I thought the African guys were awesome, and the fight in the stairwell was really, really great.
That's true.
The scene where they threaten
stairwell
the
was
chief's
so
girlfriend with the
good.
machete is awesome. There's so much great in this movie that just pops into my brain.
And to be
I forgot
honest with
about
you,
the stairwell scene,
I
but
do
yeah.
think there is. Well, not think. We know that there's something new here that we've never seen before. This is Bond green and in his first ever mission, and it's a brand new experience we've never experienced before. And he's like I said, the greenness brings out something new, and it brings out something I guess fresh to the experience.
Well, because once again,
Good point.
I mean, we'll go through. Well, like, and the touch the greenness. So, like, a lot of the greenness that you speak of is really just they keep us browbeating his arrogance. Like,
Well, we know Bond's arrogant. He's arrogant in all the movies.
but that's what I mean.
But-
is like so much of it is just that same note. and everything. Like I said, you're not seeing him touching his earpiece. You're not.
Well,
you're
yeah.
not seeing him
Well,
holding
he's not
gun out in a
he's not an
crowd.
idiot.
Like,
Well, I didn't say he was an idiot.
No,
I said he was
but
green.
That's the thing. I was like, I mean, but like I said, like you make it seem green as if like I mean, basically you got by a Spectre agent, and you don't even know who Spectre is at this point and all. So you can look at it that way to where it's like you're green in the sense that even your organization doesn't even know who these people are. It's not that you're green; it's that your organization is inept.
Well, that may be true, but did he get got by a Spectre agent, or did he get got by Quantum?
Doesn't it turn out in these movies that Quantum is a part of?
I don't remember.
I just know she was handing money off to Mr. White.
And Mr. White it works for Quantum. I know that, but where Quantum falls in the whole grand scheme of things, I'm not
I
sure.
believe in
I was gonna
these
say,
movies, Quantum is a like super section of Spectra.
Yeah,
I think they kind of explain.
I'm waiting for it to come full circle on it, but
I think
like,
I might be wrong on that.
that's basically what I'm getting at here and all that. So like I said, I overlook the greenness and everything in that aspect, like because there's a whole nother game here that was being played that no Mr. White knew what was going on.
Ray, where were you at with your ranking?
He was at 5.
I was at 5,
Okay.
but I think I'm gonna go to 4. I think I'm
Woohoo!
gonna go 4.
Man.
Look at you, Ray.
I know. So y'all better fucking help me out on some other deal down the
Oh,
road.
very much. Yeah, I got your back.
So are you dropping to 4 then, Barry?
I had it at 1, and I'm willing to move down.
Yes.
I'm given. So then, are we Tom? Can you accept 4? Wade, are you cool with 4?
Oh yeah, these are your all's ranking. I'm just
Not his
giving my
ranking.
opinion on some
Just
stuff.
fucking
not
roll
mine
on
either.
over,
Not
Wade.
mine either, brother.
I mean, I just
Way to
I just
show
feel
us
like-
fine here and help me out.
oh, it's my first episode on number 22.
All right, and it makes me kind of sad because I love GoldenEye. I hate to see it drop further, but I mean that's just the reality.
Yeah, that's life.
I mean, I
But we all know you're super excited about From Russia going down. So, I mean,
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah, this is
Overrated.
life. How y'all keep
Long.
knocking down my Pammy.
Bouvier.
Bouvier. Boudier.
All right, so we
So
accepting
we
this.
4?
We accept.
I
Okay.
go with it.
All right, so Casino Royale slots in number 4, behind Dr. No and ahead From Russia with Love. I would say much more love for Casino Royale than I expected coming into today. I thought we would have some haters in the room because let's be honest, as a group, we have not had very many nice things to say about Craig.
It's true.
So I mean, I didn't expect somebody to have a 1. First off, definitely didn't have expect that, but nobody put it below 6 when we started. So I'm actually kind of surprised.
No, but I also think that speaks to just the way it was shot too. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, it is a more modern take on it. And everything, even like beyond everything Brosnan's movies and all that. So like I said, I don't know. It just lands different.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I think that will wrap up our Casino Royale episode, and we would appreciate you to tune in next week for our Quantum of Solace, our second Craig movie, and getting us that much closer to the end of Bond.
Woo.
Only 4 more movies to go. And please tune in next time for Blockbuster Bums.